I don't really know, yeah, I ain't never gonna be the same now. I'ma tear up this whole fucking game now. Yeah, y'all don't really know, y'all don't really know. Y'all don't really know, y'all don't really know.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Oh, what's up, guys? How you guys all doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Chris may or may not be joining us today. We'll see. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I wanted to dive into Suicide Squad, right? Because, you know, it's the newest DC film. I'm a DC fan myself. I love the DC universe and stuff like that. But ironically enough, was not a fan of this movie. I don't know why. I know why I didn't like it, but I don't understand how the media and everybody I'm talking to absolutely loves this movie, and I don't get it. You know, I want to know your thoughts. I want to see if you have thoughts on the movie. If you know why it's why you liked it or anything like that, please drop it in the chat. Let me know what you think, because I would love to hear differing opinions on this, because I feel like my opinion not necessarily matters more, but is more accurate than most have heard. Like, oh, it was amazing. Why is it amazing? People are talking, oh, it's so dark and stuff like that. Yeah, DC films are mainly dark films. You know, they're not specific to other films. I mean, this one was directed by James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Slither, and a bunch of other ones that most people like. But for me, specifically, I was not a fan. People are always talking about, like, okay, so they're comparing this film to Guardians of the Galaxy, and that James Gunn's great at directing ensemble casts and stuff like that. And it's like Guardians of the Galaxy and Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now, if nobody ever seen Apocalypse Now, it's very, very psychologically dark. It's a dark film. Not like lighting only. I mean dark, like as in emotional, psychological, and stuff like that too. Didn't really get that from this film. So, right there, don't like that comparison at all. Guardians of the Galaxy, people are just comparing it because James Gunn did Guardians. And he had an ensemble cast there. That one had 5 characters. This one, he goes through, I don't know, it feels like 15. And coincidentally enough, they've been talking about, like, don't get too attached. Oh, there's going to be casualties. Yeah, he kills like 10 of them in the first 5 minutes of the film. If you haven't seen the Suicide Squad, you probably shouldn't be in my podcast today about it. Specifically because, spoiler alert, it's been out since Thursday. At 7:30, I found out a quicker way to watch it because it came out at the same time that it came out in theaters on the East Coast. So if you haven't seen it, definitely give it a shot. You might like it. I did enjoy it. Maybe I need to watch it again. You know, I mean, there was a lot of different aspects of it that I was not a fan of. Like, to top it off, I think John Cena has a future, so to speak, in film. Like a career. Most people keep comparing him to Dwayne Johnson, and how Dwayne Johnson came from the WWE and into film, stuff like that too. But who cares? You know what? People didn't say that same thing about Dave Bautista. You know? Nobody said that about him. So I don't understand why people need to harp on John Cena because he's doing the same thing. You know? So, I mean, and then you got Ronda Rousey. You got a bunch of stars that have come from doing WWE. I mean, Stone Cold, all those guys, into that. So John Cena does not deserve the kind of hate that people give him. I think he's a great guy. He's very funny and stuff like that. There's a couple movies out there that I'm a big fan of his. This one, I'm not a fan. There's some scenes that was okay, but it's like the writer, it's like Gunn took Deadshot, Will Smith's character from the first one, and instead of, you know, because they were trying to bring him back, and then scheduling conflicts between him, and that's why they brought Idris Elba in, because originally Idris Elba was going to replace him as Deadshot, and then they created a new character, but that character, Bloodsport, has been in the comics before, but it's like you took that and then you have Peacemaker, who pretty much is the same thing. It's like you took Deadshot's character and you split him into two different people and put him in the film. It's like you doubled down. I don't understand why you felt the necessity to do that. Kind of annoyed the hell out of me. And I mean, Idris Elba's character, Bloodsport, was very interesting. There was way too many like mirroring aspects of him and Deadshot. The fact that he's got a daughter that might be in trouble and stuff like that without him needing his help and stuff like that. You know, his powers, and not necessarily his powers. I mean, the cool thing is that you know, Bloodsport's able to manufacture or make guns out of, you know, thin air, pretty much, like weapons out of thin air. I think that's what his character was in the comics. And this one, it's like pieces of his suit. Thought that was pretty interesting. I felt like I was trying to guess what people were in this one, and one of the comparisons that people make are the differences between the original Suicide Squad movie in 2016 to this one. And I don't understand why people dislike that one and liked this one, because there's a lot of different aspects. And one of the ones that I was not a fan of was the fact that, I mean, I'm a DC guy, and even I didn't even know some of these characters that well. Some of them are really unknown characters, which I do give Gunn the benefit of the doubt. The fact that he didn't just use normal people that everybody knew, right? Polka Dot Man, Calendar Man, Weasel, even oh shoot, what's his name? The guy who plays Merle in Walking Dead's Savant. Savant is like a Batman character. Most of these are Batman characters, you know, because Batman's got an awesome rogue gallery, in my opinion. But one of the things is, I mean, in the first one, you got an introduction, you got to see each character, you knew what they did. This one, you didn't really know what they did. You saw Savant throwing a ball around, but then he didn't really do anything, you know. Nathan Fillion, oh my god, poor Nathan Fillion, getting TDK, which I believe is like total disjointed something like that, you know. And oh my god, that whole first scene, which was, it was intense, it was surprising, but it didn't do it for me. Like this one, it did. Like this whole scene right here with the introduction, you got the Harley Quinn. I love this. I love the colors and stuff like that too. I think that little origin stories are great. David Ayer, I think David Ayer directed this one. I don't know. You have to check on that for me. But anyway, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I said it when I saw Wolf of Wall Street, when she was with that scene of Leo in the nursery. I said it in the theaters, and I'm so glad it happened. I was like, if they were ever to bring Harley Quinn into the live action movies, that Margot Robbie would be amazing as Harley Quinn. And it happened. And I think she's now in 3 films. Even she got her own film itself, and I think she even came out and said that she will play Harley Quinn for as long as they want her to be Harley Quinn, because she loves the character. And I think it's great. I think it's great. Maybe, you know, I think she should. But I don't think Harley Quinn did it for me, like, at all in this movie. If anything, it was very childish. Some of her jokes weren't landed. It seemed rushed. It seemed forced with a lot of the stuff that she was doing or saying. Like the whole scene when she gets captured and she goes with this guy, and so it's like a full 20-minute freaking thing where it's like, oh, I'm with this guy, I'm having sex, blah, blah, blah. Why? And like, then there's like when she's doing the action stuff and there's flowers coming out of everything. I'm like, you didn't explain that. You didn't lead that up to it. It was just there for whatever use that you felt like was needed for that scene. Was not a fan of that. Was a big fan of Joker, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that from this one. And I wish they had given Jared Leto the range that he thought he had in the script, instead of butchering the hell out of him in the movie itself. Hey, DC fans, we got the Zack Snyder cut. Would anybody be interested in actually seeing the original cut of this Suicide Squad? Because I love the Suicide Squad. I think that the story of the Suicide Squad is amazing. Waller's a great character. All the other characters that were just villains for the sake of being villains against the heroes finally get their turn to be used in a certain way, and we actually get to see their kind of, not point of view, but like their journey, instead of just going up against the superhero heavy hitters and being used by the government for their own standpoints instead of just being put in a prison. It's an interesting concept, I'm sure that in this country we'd probably get in trouble with it, but it'd be funny, not funny, it'd be an interesting thing if we were able to use convicts in this aspect in the real world, right? It'd be so weird. Anyway, so like we get these scenes and stuff like that too, right? Of all these you know, little backstories of all these characters and stuff, right? You got, you know, Captain Boomerang and stuff like that too. But for me, I was not a fan of the way that they just tossed all these characters into the mix. Like, let's take a look at this scene, right? Okay. Turn this off here.
I love your accent.
American women all love accents.
We do. Because we don't got none.
This is a tough group. You can make it.
Oh, you don't.
Father, with all due respect, we're in the middle of a goddamn Harley, wait!
It's a pleasure to serve you.
Gracias.
Like, some of the jokes just didn't do it for me, but this is funny.
Well, we're here to save you.
My mother said to count back again.
Might I be frank, Harley?
Bernie Milton.
Fuck! He has been with us the whole time!
Somebody named
I actually liked Polka Dot Man.
with us the whole
Yes!
Polka Dot Man was great.
Carry it for who? For what? If we find out you have personalized license.
Okay, here it is. This scene, when they finally get the thinker in the movie, that was the only part of the entire film that felt like it was moving forward as a movie. And that was like at the end of the film. It was like within the last 30 minutes. That's the actual part that actually felt like a Suicide Squad episode or an adventure or a movie or something like that. Everything else besides that didn't work for me. It didn't. I felt like I was slowly trying to get interested in the film. And for my biggest complaint, not once did I get King Shark is a shark. Like the main line, man, you took, they took like, that disappointed the hell out of me, bro. The hell out of me, man. I was not, it's just so bad.
You have personalized license plates. You die.
What? No.
If you mismatch blacks, you die.
No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Harley, those last three aren't things. Although,
Oh my God, is it a werewolf? I wanted to meet a werewolf forever.
You are perfect.
You were so freaking hot. What the heck? Who am I supposed to carry it for? I am walking back and forth.
That's funny. Like the small stuff that Harley Quinn does when she's like in the background and stuff like that. That's funny. But when you try and put her out in front of the comedy, it didn't work for me. But when she's in the background doing stuff like that, that's Harley Quinn. You know, she was like Harley Quinn was the backup for Joker. You know, like his sidekick. You know, Batman, Robin, Harley Quinn, and Joker kind of thing. So when you put her comedy up front, and especially in this movie, I didn't get it. You know, it didn't resonate with me as much as it should have, I feel like. You know, that's just me.
You were real pretty and well. And R.I.P. to that absolutely beautiful monster.
Nope.
Why? I don't think so. I think I would have noticed if a guy named Milton's been with us. It's not a very common name. I don't think I've ever even met Milton.
This stuff, all the flowers. Where in the history of Harley Quinn did that ever come from?
What shoes are jamming in?
I'm waiting for God to tell me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, or him, or any of them, really.
Oh, that guy, Milton.
I haven't got many of those.
I could be your friend, Milton.
Not my name.
What are you talking about? We just had a conversation for like 3 hours about how your name is Milton. Hold on.
Oh, God, it was just... That's my face. Yeah. This whole flower stuff, I didn't get it. I wasn't on board with it. I didn't appreciate... I don't know what it is. Was not a fan. Don't understand why it was a thing. I really, really, really don't. I don't understand it. But you know, that's the film that we got out of all this stuff, and I feel like it could have been better. I feel like they missed out on a lot of opportunities. I was not a fan of what they did with King Shark. They made him just dumb, and it's like you took out the shark. It was very Groot. I'm sorry, you know, like Groot making friends and stuff like that, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I mean, I don't know. I was just not a fan of this film. Honestly, it almost is like a 5 out of 10 for me. Maybe I need to watch it again. You know, chat. Maybe I need to watch it again. I did not like the film. I didn't like the film, man. The first 5 minutes, it was very surprising. You know, it was chaotic and stuff. Like Rick Flagg was like one of my favorite characters from the Suicide Squad, and it felt like he was getting replaced by, you know, Bloodsport and Peacemaker and stuff like that. And that fight scene with him and Peacemaker, that's the only time throughout this entire film that I felt like, oh my God, don't die. You know, please don't die. Every other time it's like, yeah, they're probably going to die. They're probably going to die in some stupid way. Because that's how like the film started off. And that's the progression of it, right? And just the progression of it is like telling you where this film's going to go. That's what I felt. That's how I felt about the film. And they set the tone early on, and I just did not. I just didn't feel any kind of sense of, you know, worth toward any of these characters after that. After Rick Flag, and Bloodsport and stuff like that too. It was an interesting dynamic between him and Peacemaker, sure, but it's like they took a photocopy of Deadpool and then ripped it in half, and he said, "Here's 2 pieces. Go ahead and run with it." You know. Not Deadpool. Did I say Deadpool? Deadshot. You know, and then John Cena's even getting his own show now on HBO Max with Peacemaker, and I don't understand how he even got that. Is it just because he's John Cena and that's what he deserves for that? I don't know, guys. Tell me what you thought of the film, man. Did you like Suicide Squad? Was there a scene that you liked the most? I am a big fan of Captain Boomerang and King Shark in the original Suicide Squad, even the Suicide Squad, you know, comics. But I was not a fan of what they did with these characters in this movie. I just wish that there was more. You know, there was like so much of this, like, oh, we're gonna get here, and then we're gonna do this. Oh, and then it's just like lulls and like spots where you could have filled it with something different. Ratcatcher 2, awesome. Loved that character. She was the heart of the movie, and I was sad a lot of times from what she was going through. I wish you got a little bit more of her earlier on, because all of a sudden there's this scene with Taika Waititi, and they're all talking about, oh, Taika Waititi's in the film. He's in there for like 2 minutes, bro. 2 minutes in the film. And he's got a scene with her, and she's his dad. Like, he's Ratcatcher 1. But there was like no connection. There was no empathetic process besides the fact that she's very sweet and innocent, like, throughout the whole thing, which is kind of what we felt like for Harley Quinn in the first one. But in this one, all of her humor was just the sake of being Harley Quinn. Tell me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. You know, you never know if I'm wrong or not. So, you know, I just might be speaking out of my ass at this point, you know. But I just was not a fan of this film. And I'm sorry to say that it just... Maybe I'll watch it again. You know, I'll watch it again. And we'll see if it's any good. Because King Shark, number 1... I think it was just a dumb group. They just took a very, very dumb group, and they ruined that for me. Rick Flag was like, and Boomerang were like my favorite characters, and they kind of botched a little bit out of them. I think they put Rick Flag in there a little bit more because of the connection with Harley Quinn in the first one, and James Gunn was like, oh, it's not like a soft reboot. It's kind of like it's its own standalone film, which they made very clear of that as well too. It's just, I don't know, man. I was just not a fan of this new one. Sorry to say. Yeah, I don't know. And like a bunch, they brought a lot of characters into the film itself that I wanted to see more of, or at least get a little more dynamics from it, because they brought different characters in that people hadn't known about. Polka Dot Man I thought was really great. I thought he was an interesting character. You really didn't understand his powers too much. You had no idea what Bloodsport's powers really were. But besides the fact of like the parts that you just figured that out as you went along. Thinker really was just there for the sake of like, oh, I'm the one that figures out how to use this specific entity in the way it was. The Javelin, like, there was this huge thing about the Javelin being important, and it was just like they used it as like, oh, it just stabbed the fucking, yeah. And coincidentally, King Shark is not just supposed to be stupid and used as a motif for being funny. I was more scared of Killer Croc in the first one, really, than this one, than King Shark. And I'm sorry, I kept making comments of it while watching the film. If you saw a shark walking on dry land through either a jungle or just hanging out in the back of a car looking at you, shark stares are fucking terrifying. They do not blink. They have black eyes. I wanted King Shark to just be a little bit more than just the head motif. It was like they took Drax and Groot and then made him stupid. You know? And I wanted him to be a little bit more scary. They could have made him a little bit more scary. Starro was cool. I remember Starro from the comics. They put Starro in the real life thing. That was interesting. They used a real life place, Jotunheim. That's it, down in Brazil area and stuff like that. That's an actual real life location. I believe that the Nazis went to at the end of World War II. Ratcatcher 2 was interesting. I felt for that character a little bit more than anything else. But the fact that they keep saying that he had a lot of creative control in this film, which is very uncommon for a DC film. I feel like a lot of the times Warner Brothers and studios really want to have a lock on what they can or cannot do in the control standpoint itself. I just was not. I felt like they could have done a lot more with this film than they actually did. I feel like there was no sense of urgency at the end of the film as opposed to the very beginning. They killed a lot of characters off in the very beginning of the film, and then as it went along, they did their whole plot armor thing when the stars are like coming out of Starro, which basically latch onto the face of people to control them. It's like a whole one mind kind of entity kind of thing, right? And not one single superhero got the star in his face, you know? They didn't make it very I'm losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. I just woke up like a couple hours ago. But they didn't make it believable the heroes could be, at that point, the Suicide Squad could be put in danger. And I feel like they missed the ball on that one too. Is there a post-credit scene? Post-credit? Alright, so there you go. There's whoever goes to see it in theaters, or if you haven't watched it on HBO Max, there's a couple post-credit scenes at the end of the film. But anyway, that's me here at Real Chat. I'm going to sign off here, guys. It's been a pleasure talking about Suicide Squad. I might watch it again, and just maybe I'll revisit my point of view on it and my thought process. But right now, it's like a 5 out of 10. I didn't like the film, and I can't wait to find out why you or others are interested in this film in the first place. I'll catch you guys later. Respect yourselves, respect each other, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Take care.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.